Hi guys, it's Rohan with episode 2 of Life as I Know It. I decided to do 2 episodes today because what's an intro without some context? Alright, as you can see, I have my book right in front of me with my notes, and I just feel that we should be talking about on employment, underemployment, job security, and all that good stuff about jobs. I won't personally base this off of my country, although I should add that according to the internet on global data, last year, 2024, it said that the unemployment rate in Dominica was 13.04%. I find that hard to believe, especially for what I'm seeing and the lifestyle that everyone lives, especially that I am also in the unemployment class as well. But I don't know what exactly is being fed to the internet, what data is being used. I don't know. I don't know. But, anyways, I just wanted to add that in, to specify for the country what was being said on the internet, what is placed. So we're just gonna go into unemployment. Unemployment is pretty high in the Caribbean, I would say personally, because you see a lot of young people with different skills. Most of them are not educational skills. Some has technical skills, vocational skills. There are some people who are skilled in carpentry, construction, welding, mechanics. There are so many different skills that people have. And I don't think everything should be based on education. Yes, if you are smart, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Get it. Focus on that. But there are some people who struggle with school, who don't finish school, and they need a different way to make money, and they shouldn't be shamed for it. So there are a lot of jobs. Yes, I know that jobs has requirements for you to, enter, but skills should matter to an extent when hiring, especially for the type of job that the person is trying to get into. If there is a job for a handyman, you need not ask that person for CXC grades of only math, English, stuff like that. Especially if they can show you that they have that certain skill or they have a certification. Just to be clear, you should have some proof that you are skilled in that aspect that you're applying for to show an employer. No one will employ you without some kind of proof, but it shouldn't just be on paper proof of an education that is standard to everyone, especially if someone is not as smart or educationally inclined as other people. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of unemployment. The unemployment rate is high with a lot of youth, which results in high crime rates, people stealing, side hustles, drugs, so many other venues. Yet again, I'm not shaming anyone for side hustles. But if you do something that is criminally offensive, you should expect some backlash, especially if you're from Belt. So I'm not condoning anything, but everyone has to make a dollar at the end of the day, especially if unable to find job because of maybe a corrupt system or a biased system. So again, I have this here, which is for my notes. Now, another thing that we should talk about is job security. For example, there are a lot of jobs where people work, but they always have that fear that they could be let go today or tomorrow. And that's why it's important to have contracts, especially the contracts shouldn't only be for your employer. You should never have contracts that only safeguards your employer. Why? What is the point of working for someone if it only protects the person paying you? I bring a skill to your work. I bring something that you need to further your business. I'm helping you make money, and there's only a contract or things in place that protects you. Nothing protects me. You can release me today for tomorrow. It makes no sense. I'm not saying without plausible cause and stuff like that you can't fire someone. But it should never be that you're afraid that you could get fired for no reason. You shouldn't be that irreplaceable to your job. Is it irreplaceable? I think that's the wrong word. Where they can easily replace you. So um always ensure that you have some form of contract that protects yourself or read the fine print to ensure that you're comfortable with what you're getting into so that when any situation arises, you're not messed up in the head and blue vex that, hey, they got rid of you. It was there in the contract that you signed. You chose not to pay any heed to it because the paycheck that was being added to it. So be careful. There are a lot of jobs that they are more focused on quick cash. So yes, they're quick to hire you, the payment is on time, but that means they are also quick to fire you. Any job that hires so many people all at once, it will release so many people all at once. Jobs that are more selective on who they're hiring tend to retain their employees. So just be mindful of that. Another one, outsourced employment. Now this one is a personal hit home because I'm personally aware of one outsourced company that we have in the country, which is Clay Harbor. And now recently, of course, Clay Harbor has gone through a huge turnover, practically letting go 900 employees because of loss of clients. Now, personally, a lot of things could be avoided. A lot of things could be better prepared for. I'm aware that a lot of people in higher positions would have had information that could have safeguarded some people from the situation. It's a whole mess. And yet again that ties in for unemployment rate because a huge amount of people were released from jobs ranging from December to March, and the job market now is there's a huge influx of people looking for jobs, cannot find jobs or can't get jobs that they are skilled at, or they're now going to have to recess in the amount of their spending and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, they came from a job that was paying them nicely in a country that doesn't have that much. Minimum wage is basically nothing, especially if you're feeding a family, paying school bills, loans, and you have to go to a job that now adheres to that minimum wage when you were being paid above the minimum wage. It is going to be hell. So you're going to be unemployed, underemployed, underpaid, stressed, and trying to figure it out. So that's another thing about outsourced companies. It's they can easily pull their clients from you, pull the jobs from you, and it would be in your contract that you're in an ever changing environment. You practically don't have job security in these. So these two tie together. There is no job security when it comes to stuff like that. Your position can be pulled from you, you can be demoted, promoted, fired, furloughed, moved to a different program, your pay cut. Like there's so many different things that can happen to you when it comes to being in an outsourced company. So again, job security, underemployment, they all tie in. Underemployment all tie in with outsourced employment as well. Another one is finding work after school. Personally, this is me. I have a bachelor's degree in economics and I applied to, I literally have it somewhere here. I applied to 18 different places. 18. And there is yet to have a favorable response. I have a bachelor's degree in economics. In the CXC level, I have 8 1s and a 2. Like, I don't understand it to be qualified and not getting a job. What? But, so it's a lot where there are people who, after school, they get the degrees and the degrees go to waste because, for one, they can't find a job suitable for the degree. Two, they're not being paid for that degree in the job that they are in. Or three, they're trying to get a job out of the country, but there are things such as visa restrictions. Obviously, you don't have money to move, money to start a whole new life. So you feel like you're just restricted in the country that you are in and stuck with the job that you maybe have that is not paying you for your degree, especially going to school to get a degree that you took loans to get and you're trying to pay back those loans. Meaning, if your job was a job that was you're struggling with to just pay for your school, you're still going to be struggling in that job, especially if they're not raising your pay just to pay back the loans that you have. So you're going to feel like you're in the same place. And what was the point of going to school? You should not have to feel like that, but that is the reality for a lot of people in the Caribbean countries, a lot of people in my country, Dominica, myself included. Let's see. Qualified but broke. Like I literally just spoke about it. You are qualified. You have the qualifications. You put in the work to get the qualifications. But yet you're broke because either one, the job is not paying you for that qualification and you have to pay back different loans. Two, you're in a higher job, right? Maybe. But you're so under loans and debt that it feels like you haven't moved an inch. That would be very frustrating. Like, I worked hard to get this. I should be seeing the fruits of my labor, but you're not seeing that. You have a piece of paper and you're like, why did I get this? I could have just continued how I was and I would be fine. But no, now I'm in debt and it makes no sense. You're qualified, you're broke. Can you imagine going to school, spending your big, long money to go to school, get a degree, and you cannot buy yourself KFC every other day because you just want to buy it. You cannot book yourself that trip. You cannot go and sleep in a hotel just for the fun of it. You cannot go to every event that it has because you are broke. With a 30 or $40,000 degree, you are broke. Crazy. Just crazy. To me, personally. To me, it's crazy. Some people want their dream job. Some people don't even want a dream job because it's like, I just want to survive. So there are those that are underemployed, unemployed, and then there are those who just choose to be like, hey, I don't even want a dream job. I just want to survive because who really loves to work? I mean, there's someone gonna argue that, hey, I love working. I love my job. I love waking up in the morning at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to go to that job. I love that for you. But I'm sure that there are a lot of people that's gonna be like, that life is not for me. It is the ghetto. They literally work just to survive. Like, hey, I have no choice but to work. I have to pay my rent. I have to survive, so I'm going to work. But I don't want to be here. I don't want to sit across from Melinda and Karen where they're talking about their 7 children. And I'm here like, can you please shut up? But you can't say that because, you need the job. So we move on. Working just to pay bills. You're at a job, again, underemployment or unemployment, you're at a job, you're getting paid, let's just say $2,000 a month. Now, most of the jobs are centered around the city side, most of the good jobs, meaning you should find a place to live around the city. If not, you're going to pay $12 to $13 bus fare one way. So it's like literally 26 or $24 bus fare every day to go to your job. When you calculate that for a month, that's a huge chunk of your paycheck. Then you have water bill, light bill. The parents have children to feed, clothe, pay school fees. They maybe have loans and other bills that um, there's so many aspects. At the end of that month, food. At the end of the month, if you have a $2,000 check, you're sometimes left with $50 to $100. And that's just for emergencies, just in case. Don't even talk about those living in the city. When your rent is literally 1,200 from $8 to $2,200, and you're literally getting paid 1,500 to $2,700 a month, how are you expected to survive? You cannot survive. Like you cannot survive. Yet there are people doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. But how can you survive? I'm sorry for the background noise, but how can you survive? You can't. But they do. Because again, you have no choice. You have to survive. You know, being overworked and underappreciated, having a role that is pivotal in a company, yet not getting the praise that you deserve because there's someone above you that is collecting the praise because they are your manager or your supervisor, whatever it is. I feel in any job that you're in, the hierarchy should be respected, but the people should be praised accordingly. Meaning, the people at the bottom, the entry level workers, should be praised by their supervisors for exactly what they're doing. Also, keeping in fact, telling their supervisors and managers, like, hey, my agents, my people did this. Because of them, I was able to achieve these numbers. That manager should acknowledge that, but as well say, your leadership brought them there. Good job, and so on and so on and so on. It shouldn't skip somebody that they feel like they are overworked every day, giving somebody numbers and then nothing, no compensation for it, no praise for it, nothing, no mention of them, just the person that they're beneath getting praises. And most times that person don't even know what to do that person is doing. They don't even know the day-to-day activities that this person is doing. They're unable to do the things that that person is doing by receiving the praise for that person. Ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Um, Another thing would be side hustles. Side hustles is the new job. You practically cannot live without a side hustle. And when I say that, I mean obviously without family backing, without people taking care of you. You cannot live without a side hustle. And the side hustle can come in many forms. It could be you buying stuff on Shein, Timo, um, other sites that you can buy stuff cheap and sell them for a little bit more money. That's the side hustle. Once it works, it works. There are people selling weed, drugs. It works for them. It works for them. My thing is don't hurt people in whatever it is you're doing. Once you're not hurting people, go ahead. Side hustles could be two jobs, but the other one could just be a part-time job. It could be cleaning houses. It could be babysitting. It could be taking care of the elderly. It could be cleaning the roads. Like there are so many different ways that side hustles can come into play. It could be traveling to Martinique, Guadeloupe, getting chocolates and coming to sell them in your country. People pay for convenience. People pay for convenience. I'm not saying rip people off, but people pay for convenience. So anything can become a side hustle. Once you see it can make you money, go for it. But keep in mind that the dedication is going to come from your personal funds before it starts to make you money. And you might get frustrated. But if it's a look, you can see that you're making money out of it, continue, it will bear fruit. But you will struggle at first. You will struggle at first. But side hustles, the way to go. Let's see. Another part of the whole job thing is the mental health issues associated with job hunting. No one really talks about that. But can you imagine you sent out 20 different applications and 20 different responses come back the same? I am sorry. Unfortunately, you are being placed on hold, on file for 12 months. Um, we are not looking for anyone right now. If anything, we'll get back in touch with you. Like every response is negative. And what makes it worse is, especially if you're qualified, you have that degree, you have that skill, and there are people you know that don't have that skill, getting the job that you applied for, it will break you. You will get upset, you will get jealous, you will get bitter. It will break you. You will have no drive in you to keep applying because in your head it's like, what's the point? I'm just going to get rejected again. You lose confidence in yourself. It shows in your attitude, it shows in the way that you send job applications, it reflects, and sometimes it self sabotages you from even getting all the jobs that you may have gotten because of the whole approach that you're now going into. You already have a defeatist attitude. It is mentally draining to be applying for jobs that don't care. It is mentally draining to hear that there are like so many jobs out there and you cannot get a job. How can there be so many jobs out there and I cannot get a job? What is wrong with me? Why cannot I get a job? It makes no sense whatsoever. So, yes, there are mental issues associated with job hunting, especially when you're applying and cannot get a job, and there are people getting jobs that you think that you should be qualified for. Trust me, I understand. Again, excuse the background. This is just the second episode. Maybe things will get better, but I'm in a community, dogs, vehicles, people. It happens. Let's see. What else am I going to talk about? How to cope. So now we can go for a little bit of solutions. How to cope when you feel stuck career wise. Personally, I don't have all the solutions. I don't have all the answers. And yet, again, you can comment down below with your suggestions. But I feel sometimes, I'm not saying lower your standards, but there are times that you should change your standards and adjust accordingly to your surroundings. For example, what I mean, there are people who are solely focused on getting a job in a bank, right? You have the qualifications for a bank, and that's what you want. You want to work in a bank. You've been applying to the banks and you cannot get in, and that's all you're doing. You are going to feel stuck. What I mean by adjust, like, hey, let's say you're applying for a bank. You can go a step lower and try a credit union. You can try a broker agency. You can try um, insurance agency, things that deal with finances, but in a different way than a bank, and then try to work your way up. Focusing only on one career path that you are not getting through will break you. And I feel that, you know, diverting a little bit temporarily before you get to where you're going is a good way to move out of being stuck. Also, sometimes you're heading for a pay threshold of, let's say, $2,000, $3,000, and you cannot get that, and you refuse to take any job without getting that. I don't think that's the way. Again, start and then work up. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in a job, not apply. Apply for other jobs. Keep applying, but take something and work your way up. I'm not saying settle, but everyone starts somewhere. Take something and work your way up. Get some experience that you could keep adding to your resume and saying like, hey, I worked in something financial. I can get that job as a banker. Instead of you just graduated from school and you just have that qualification, which is the degree, but you don't have the job experience. And most of them look for job experience in some related field. Ways to make money without a 9 to 5. There are ways to make money online. There are many different ways to make money online. The side hustles that I also mentioned. Um, you can do part-time jobs. Uh, Become an entrepreneur. Now, this would be very difficult if you don't have starting funds. As I said, it's going to be very hard, but it's possible. Learn a skill such as web designing, software designing, do drop shipping, do different things where you can make passive income, even while having a small little job. There are ways of making money without having a 9 to 5. It's not easy to get, but there are ways of doing it. Just, do research, check online of different ways. There's this girl named Kia. She shows a lot of different ways of getting remote jobs, making a little cash, different banking options like Chef Kiss. She gives a lot of information on Facebook and different platforms. What I wish I knew before job hunting, that it's not just gonna solve itself because you have a degree. Also, getting a job at 18 immediately when you apply for it, or getting your first job, doesn't mean you're always going to be that successful. So going in with that mentality that I got this job, I'm gonna get this job, and not getting it will break you. Always expect the unexpected. Always have a backup plan. Always try more. You know, I wish I knew that because I felt defeated because I got a degree and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get employed. Ha ha. What redefining success outside of a job? This would be my last topic. I see that we're like literally 25 minutes in. This would be my last topic for this. Redefining success outside of a job title. What I think that means to me, it's, let's just say you're a manager, right? And you have success. Let's say it's a manager of a call center. You have success in that role as a manager of a call center, right? You get praised inside of that for that. But that's all you do. You manage that one team. So yes, you get gain some skills, leadership skills, administrative skills. Um, you work under pressure. But outside of that job, when thrown into a different environment, when that if that job title is stripped from you, you feel lost. What are you going to do to preserve your sense of security, your sense of achievement? You need to redefine your success outside of your job title. You need to have something else that you are proud of doing. You are proud of building your home. You are proud of starting your family. You are proud of, you can get certifications of different things. Hey, I have these different things that can I can use to get a job. You shouldn't just focus on, hey, I have, times change, job titles change, companies change, inflation, the job market falls, companies pull away from islands. There are so many things that could go wrong and take away that success from that one job. You need to have an open mind and look elsewhere. Look in yourself and find different ways to be proud of yourself and feel successful besides that job. I'm not saying pull away from your job and not be like, hey, be proud. You did that. You did that. What else can you do? You feel me? And I feel I've spoken enough. I feel that this was very interesting. It was interactive. It was literally me talking to my screen, but I did that. Again, I'm just gonna read my closing because again, it's my second episode or my first episode. So if you're in a place right now where work feels out of reach or like you're doing everything right now and still going nowhere, I just want you to know you're not lazy. You're not failing, and you're not alone. I repeat, you're not lazy, you're not failing, and you are not alone. The system doesn't always work in our favor. Government doesn't work in our favor, but it doesn't always work in our favor. But your work isn't just tied to a paycheck and a job title. You're still valuable, capable, and growing. If nobody's hiring you right now, even if no one's hiring you, you're capable, you're worth it, you're growing, you got this. So, again, thank you for listening to Life as I Know It. If this episode spoke to you, share it, like it, comment. Somebody else might be out there wanting to just hear about, the experiences when it comes to job problems, job issues, job security, unemployment, and all that stuff. So, again, we're all just figuring out life one rejection, one step, and one day at a time. This is Rohan, and catch you in the next episode of Life as I Know It.